Hi everybody, I figured it out. Thanks for being patient. So you know how it is, when you're not 25, technology can be a little daunting. But here I am, and I hope you're all still joining me. I'm trying to fix this camera so that it's straight. I want to talk about the full moon tonight. And if you have any comments or questions, if you comment, I will read them and answer you. So I hope that we are live. Hi Liz, all the way from Florida. I miss you so much, my soul sister. So, and I apologize if the camera is a little crooked. I am doing the best I can here. Okay, so I want to talk about the full moon and do some messages and see what kind of energy we have going on these days. First of all, we have a full moon in Virgo. It's going to be at 7:51 this evening, so it'll probably be after our broadcast. I'm going to go for about 15 minutes or so, and hopefully give you a lot of information. That's my dog Sparky in the background. Sparky loves full moons. He gets a little crazy. So the full moon in Virgo, when the moon is in Virgo, the sun is in Pisces. So what this energy is really about is about balancing. Virgo is the energy of our daily routines and the tools and the things that we use in our daily routines and daily lives. And Sparky's coming over to say hello. And Pisces is the energy of the tools that we use in our spiritual life. So this moon is about balancing those two things. And I know that's a struggle for me and a lot of my friends who are spiritual, because we live in such a 3D world that it's very hard sometimes to balance everything. And, you know, we're in a 3D world all day and we're getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And then we want to come home and meditate or be in our healing sessions or do our readings and be spiritual with people. And it's very hard. That energy bounces back and forth. So in that regard, that's what this moon is about. And this energy is here to help us balance that energy. So you want to, meditate during this full moon and bring in the energies of both Pisces and Virgo. Bring in the energy of your daily life and also your spiritual life, right? As above, so below, to balance those things in order to have a peaceful existence. I want to talk a little bit about some other planetary things that are going on, not just the moon and the sun, but this next few weeks, I think, is a time when we should be preparing for some very large planetary shifts. The first one being Uranus. Uranus goes into Taurus in April, and it has been I'm sorry, a little nervous tonight, okay? So Uranus is coming into Taurus, and when Uranus comes into Taurus, it's going to change a lot of energy in the world. Uranus is usually a 9 to 11 year cycle, and this is going to have a lot to do with our finances globally and collectively. You're going to see a lot of things change in the financial markets. There's been a lot of to-do about Bitcoin. I know the markets went down today because the president put a tariff on steel and aluminum. Those are the kind of things that you're going to see a lot of volatility in this year coming up. So I would say to prepare your finances and make sure that you're working in a budget, because this energy will really test our finances and our financial literacy of how we actually use money in our life. The other really large energy shift that's coming in is Chiron. The planet Chiron, or Chiron as some people call it, is the planet of the wounded healer. It was actually only discovered in the late 70s. And the planet is where we have our wounds, the wounds that we bring into this lifetime. Chiron has been in Pisces for the last 7 years. And I've been on my own spiritual journey for the last 7 years, very deeply, and using the energy of Chiron to bring up my wounds, working with my inner child and the wounds that I've brought from other lives into this life, and the patterns that I have that are very destructive and maybe not so healthy. And I have steadily worked on that part of my life for the last 7 years. So I'm actually excited that Chiron is actually moving into a different sign. Chiron in Pisces is our wounds. It's where we kind of have a tendency to wallow a little bit. Pisces energy can be very much a victim. Pisces energy is not forceful. It is thoughtful, introspective, quiet. So if we're dealing with a planet that's representative of our wounded healer in that kind of energy, this has been a 7-year trend of people going within, really working on things from their childhood, dealing with their past, and sometimes even a little bit too much, and not letting go. Now when the energy moves into Aries, It's fiery. It's bold. The children born in this next 7 years of Chiron being in Aries are going to be the children who are forged in the fire. These are people who are going to be like Phoenix rising from ashes if they've had any challenges in their life. It's a very bold, fiery energy. Aries does not like to talk about stuff. Aries likes to do. Aries is not some energy that's going to say, I'm sorry, and go deep into all the wounds. Aries is the energy that's going to get over it. So I'm really excited because I really think that this is going to be, for myself and others who have been on this spiritual path, a real change in the energy and a real shift in the energy becoming more moving forward and letting go of things finally. So what's going on in March specifically? We have a couple of things going on. Not just do we have this new full moon, we have 2 full moons coming up in the month of March. The next full moon is on March 31st, but before we get to that, we have a new moon on March 17th. And that's aspected by some planets that can be a little touchy. First of all, this month, I want to just touch a little bit more on the voyage of self-discovery that I was just talking about, because that voyage of self-discovery is really in the stars. And I personally believe, as do many astrologers, I don't consider myself a professional astrologer. I use astrology as part of my divination of going into other realms and other dimensions to get information and read energy. I believe that when we look up at the stars where they are positioned when we were brought onto this earth is exactly a roadmap for us, depending on the aspects and the personalities of the planets and where they are at any given moment. That being said, in March, Mercury enters Aries on March 6th. So we have a lot of Aryan energy coming through in the next month to 6 weeks. And Aryan energy is very fiery. If anyone knows an Aries, they're very much, they can be a little self-centered. That's the negative part of Aries. The positive part of Aries is these are people who start companies. They are CEOs of companies. It's a cardinal sign. These are starters. These are go-getters. So when we're in Aryan energy, sometimes you have to watch because it can be a little bit overly bold. Sometimes we speak too much and we kind of blurt things out. And, you know, Aries, like I said, is not some energy that's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Aries is like, all right, get over it. So that's the energy that we're going to be coming up on. So Mercury moves into Aries on the 6th. I have some notes here. I'm sorry if I'm looking down. But Mercury moves into Aries on the 6th. And the energy becomes less about our viewpoint where it is in Pisces, right? In Pisces, we mull things over. We're a little watery about it. In Aries, we just get to the decision. We don't want to know about everybody's viewpoint. We don't want to know what everybody thinks. We just want to go for it. So in this energy this month, I would say try and be a little bit cautious because we may have a tendency to want to shoot from the hip. So we don't want to work our lives from instinct, right? We want to work from conscious thought. So sometimes Aryan energy is just shoot from the hip instinct. They're your tempers, they're fiery. So that would be my advice as far as Mercury moving into Aries this month. We're also going to have a Mercury retrograde. So as Mercury moves into Aries, you want to make sure that you are assertive, but not aggressive. That's the difference, because we're going to get very assertive in our speech, especially because Mercury is the communication planet. So you don't want to get overly aggressive in your speech. This is bold, pioneering energy, if I had to say the positive aspect of it. So that's the communication energy this month for March. Now, I want to talk about Venus, the planet of love, right? Everybody loves Venus. Well, on the same day that Mercury moves into Aries this month of March, Venus moves into Aries. So we have a Venus and Mercury both going into a sign that's very bold and fiery at the same time. So that's our communication, our love, the things we desire, the things we value most in our life are all moving into this energy that's very forward, bold, pioneering, loves to kind of debate and is very competitive. So I think that the love aspect for this month is very spontaneous. Things are going to happen fast, unexpectedly. Don't, in both ways, don't be surprised if not only maybe do you meet someone new who just is like, whoa, but you may, if you have a long-standing partnership, be with someone that is, volatile. You may have an argument. So just as I said before, when Mercury goes to Aries, you want to watch your words. Someone comment and tell me if this video is upside down, because I'm looking on my computer and for some weird reason it's upside down. Don't know how to fix that one. So just turn your laptop upside down. So anyway, so that's the love energy for this month. Is going to be spontaneous and fiery. Also with Venus in Aries, there's no looking back. When Venus was in Pisces, we had a tendency to go into past loves and think about the past and rehash things and all this kind of energy. Not so this month. This month with Venus in Aries, we're going to be looking forward. We are going to be like, oh, I never go back there. We're going to be thinking more in terms of what do I want, where do I want to go to. So this is actually a really good energy for starting something new. Just be careful, because there's no sugarcoating in this energy. You are going to blurt out what you think. And you're going to want to just be like more like move on. If something happens and you do have an argument, you're going to be not so much being in the sorry and the makeup. You're going to be just be like, all right, let's just move on. And that's the Aryan energy. The other thing about Aries and love, and Venus is in Aries this month, is Aries like to be the seducer. They don't like to be seduced. Aryan energy, when our Venus is in Aries, we like to be the chaser. We don't like to be chased. So you're going to see a lot of passion this month from your loved one, and you're going to be having some passion too. So definitely cash in on that. The downside of that is power struggles. You know, not everyone can be on top. So that's the love and the communication energy for this month. Now Jupiter has been in the headlines astrologically a lot lately because Jupiter's in Scorpio. And Jupiter in Scorpio is our hidden secrets, our shadow. That's why you're hearing so many things coming out about the sexual harassment and all of that kind of stuff. That is typical of a Jupiter in Scorpio energy. It likes us to reveal the dark side. So we still have Jupiter in Scorpio. However, it's going to go retrograde. And when that happens, it not only goes retrograde, but also for a portion of that retrograde, it squares Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of authority. Saturn is the planet of the reconstructor, I like to call it, because Saturn comes into our life and it rips things apart and tears them down so we can rebuild them the right way. So when Saturn is square Jupiter in Scorpio, what's going to happen this month, it starts around the 8th of March. It meets square with Saturn around the 14th. But Jupiter is retrograde in Scorpio until July 7th. So that's a long time period. That's going to be a time period when you really kind of have to watch the energy, because it's going to be expanding. Jupiter is a planet of luck, and it will expand anything good in your life, which is great. But when it's meeting a square with retrograde, when Jupiter is in square and in retrograde with Saturn, what's going to happen is Saturn likes to pull it back. Saturn is restriction. Jupiter is expansion. So as Jupiter is in retrograde squaring that restrictive Saturn, it's going to put a damper on everything. So you're going to want to move forward. You're going to want to build things. You're going to want to plan things. But Saturn isn't going to let us. Saturn is going to keep pulling us back. So the best way to deal with that is make your plans. Don't go too far ahead, and don't try to overreach or overextend, because you're only going to get frustrated. And that energy is going to be with us for a while, until about July. The good part of that is the reason why the universe gives us this energy is so that we can correct what we ever started to do wrong. So the shortcuts that we've been taking are going to kind of fall apart, which inevitably is a good thing, because then we can build right. So if there's anything you've been planning in a relationship or in your career, with business or in love, it is probably going to be restructured, but restructured for the better between now and July. So you want to grow, but things probably are not going to go as planned. And I always find that when things don't go as planned, I may have a little bit of, sadness, regret, loss, but then in the long run, it's always better. So let the universe do its work and try not to push against it, because when you do that, you're just going to get more of the restraint. So go with the flow. And that is from March 8th until July 10th. March 8th to July 10th. That is Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio and squaring Saturn for a time. And that is a long-term energy that's going to stay with us, because it does that 3 times. The last time will be in September, but I'm sure we'll do another video and we'll talk about that then. So I want to wrap up with talking about the planet Neptune and where that's going in March, and what the energy is for Neptune in March. On March 16th, Neptune is in a quincunx. It's at 14 degrees Pisces with the true node. Now, I know for some of you who don't do astrology don't know what that means, but I'm going to simply put it. When Neptune moves into Pisces, it's dreamy. It's a dreamy energy. Neptune is the planet of dreams. It's where we have illusion. Neptune is that planet. I did a video a couple of days ago about how sometimes we see people for what we want them to be, not what they really are. That's our Neptune. Neptune kind of puts on the rose-colored glasses, puts the fog in front of our eyes. And so we are going to have that energy very amplified this month. So definitely look before you leap and make sure things are as they appear, because they may not be. And on we have a new moon on March 17th for St. Patrick's Day. And that's going to be a very pleasant new moon. However, it also has Mars entering Capricorn. It comes out of Sagittarius and enters Capricorn. That's actually a good thing. Mars in Sagittarius, where it's been for a little bit of time, is us planning, us kind of being a little bit ambitious about our hopes, our dreams, our wishes. But when the planet Mars moves into Capricorn, it gets us to really do it. So you're going to find that you are going to want to really move ahead and do, but I would try and stay in more of the planning stages, because we do have that other aspect of Saturn restricting our Jupiter. So, you know, this is going to be a month where you're going to want to go at 180 miles an hour, but just do 60 and you'll be a lot better off and less frustrated. Everything will come, you know, the tortoise and the hare, right? That old analogy. So that is actually my report for March astrology. And I'd also like to talk a little bit now just about spirituality in general, and before I wrap up. As I said, I use astrology as one tool, but there are many tools that I use in my spirituality. Hi, Deb. And I want to say that even if you don't get wholly into astrology for your own purpose and your own chart, I do astrology for my own chart and my own life course. I use it as a portion for when I do readings and healings with people, because I know certain aspects do allow us to have strong suits and weak points. So I would suggest for everyone, if you're not going to go crazy into astrology, at least follow the moons, because I do see tremendous correlation and synchronicity between full moons and new moons. Full moons, like we have this evening, are symbolic of illumination. Moons at its fullest, it's most illuminating. And that's symbolic of us getting illuminated about something in our life. So when we have a full moon, it's a great time to meditate and go inward about, you know, the things that maybe we really need to look at. A new moon is the time when you want to make an intention or set an intention for something new in your life. And so that's the difference between a full moon and a new moon. And the cycle goes that 30-day cycle. So for a whole moon. During that time, if you look it up, the moon has waning periods and periods where it's brighter. You know, you see a quarter moon and a half moon, whatever. When you set a new moon intention, and then the moon gets brighter and brighter leading up to the full moon, that is the manifestation of the intention as it becomes more and more illuminated. And that's, simply put, the philosophy behind using the moon and the moon energy in order to be able to manifest things in our life. Now, I use a lot of energy for manifestation, especially the energy of Saint Germain and the violet flame of transformation. That's actually what I use for my healings. And that's very, very, very prominent in my life, and a very large, profound energy. I've found when I couple that with a new moon or a full moon, it's just amazing. Beautiful spiritual energy. The universe is here to teach us. The universe is much wiser and more wonderful than we could ever imagine. It is much wiser and more wonderful than we are. And so if we tap into what the universe has to offer us, all the answers are there, and all the answers are within, and the universe wants to illuminate them. So I hope that you will enjoy this beautiful full moon when the moon is at its most illuminated, and that it will illuminate your life and help you improve and become what you are meant to be in this lifetime. If you have any questions about astrology or spirituality, if you'd like to have a reading or a healing session, do reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you. That's what this life is about, is our connections. And that's why my business is Georgia Rose Connection. So reach me, georgiaroseconnection.com. That's my mission. I thank you so much for those of you who tuned in. I source my life by this. This is what I love to do, and reach out and be part of the universe and connect with you in this way. So have a beautiful evening. Full moon is at 7:51, so you could rest in solitude, quiet, serenity for a few minutes before you have the full moon and bring in that beautiful energy. I am going to close with a prayer that Kat Mayer and I wrote, and we will be doing an event coming up soon. It's still being manifested individually and jointly by our guides. And this is the prayer that we did for our Spread Your Wings event. Thank you for lighting my path with the golden light, with the golden spark of spirit. By healing and merging my feminine and masculine, I find the balance. That's what this full moon is all about tonight, is the balance. I find the balance to manifest a more loving life and a joyful existence in every way, because love is limitless. Spread your wings. Good night.